Aloha! I'm Derek Carrizo with KTA Superstores. I want to welcome everyone to this year's 2020 Made in Hawaii Festival. As you know, my favorite part of the festival is a cooking demonstration where we have Hawaii's talented chefs cook up some unbelievable, tasty, delicious Ono dishes, and you'll put some smile on your faces. This year, of course, the Made in Hawaii Festival is an all-virtual event. We are so grateful to have our presenting sponsors, Central Pacific Bank Foundation, a financial institution that gives lots back to the community, supports a lot of local programs, and also helps a lot of local businesses. And of course, Maui Pono, a farming company on Maui that has 150 employees working so hard to help our state's economy and also to keep Hawaii fed. Yes, through these generous organization supports not only showcasing locally grown or manufactured products, but also helps the dozens of Hawaii makers, artisans, and small businesses sell their products online at our new Made in Hawaii Festival Marketplace. Hey, thank you for tuning in to this cooking demonstration. You know, I really want to be there, but it's going to be an exciting show. But remember, buy local, it matters. Aloha, and let's check it out.
Aloha everyone, my name is Chef Lee Anne Wong. I am the chef owner of Koko Head Cafe in Honolulu, Hawaii. We're currently here at my new job. I'm the executive chef here at the Pioneer Inn. We've just renamed our restaurant Papa Aina at the Pioneer Inn. And I'm also the executive chef for Hawaiian Airlines. Welcome to my COVID cooking class. I participate in Made in Hawaii every single year, and I love the event because it's when all of Hawaii's producers, artists, craftsmen come out and they show their goods, and it's just a wonderful way to see what the community is doing, what they're growing, what they're cooking, and one of my favorite things to do is participate in the demo. And since we're not having a live Made in Hawaii this year, you get me here in my courtyard, so welcome. So today I'm going to be making a really simple dish that I believe, we've all been staying at home for a super long time, and one of the things that we've all been doing is cooking at home a lot, some of us more than others. And I wanted to make a delicious soup utilizing all local ingredients, and these are things that I believe that most people should have in their pantry. And the beauty of this fish soup is that if you don't have a particular ingredient, you can sub in something else. Don't worry about it. It all goes in one pot, so super local style. So let me start by very quickly introducing what we have on the table here. So I have some mahi fillet to start, okay? So you can use fresh or frozen. And frozen fish is actually not only really, really affordable, but it's a great fish to be able to put into like a stew or a soup. You don't actually have to spend the money on fresh fish, and frozen fish does just as well for this recipe. We have some baby bok choy. And then I have some local Napa cabbage, or Chinese cabbage. We have Shaoxing, Chinese rice wine. If you don't have Shaoxing, you could use sake, you could use white wine, you could use sherry is another good substitute. We have shoyu, a little bit of shoyu. I have some sugar, and I have some green onions already cut up. And this is my special plate of seasoning here. So I have garlic, some ground up garlic, some chopped ginger. We have some sliced serrano peppers, some Szechuan peppercorns, and a little bit of ground dry Thai chili for a little spice, because that's how I like it. And now we are using some of the excellent Mahi Pono products grown right down the hill from me. So I moved to Maui back in March of last year, 2019, and I live up in Pukalani. And what's been amazing is to see how Mahi Pono is really changing the environment. Mahi Pono is a farm company that's taken over 41,000 acres of used sugarcane land and is turning it into diversified farming And so we have these beautiful products grown right here now, like our own potatoes and these beautiful Maui onions. And so we're gonna be using some of these in our recipe today. And I also have some camuela tomatoes, okay? So I'm gonna start, I've got a wok on. I'm gonna go ahead and cut up my ingredients real quick. Now I want this soup to cook pretty fast. So I'm not gonna cut my potato in large pieces. I'm actually gonna cut them up in nice small pieces so they get super tender really fast. Again, these are potatoes that are grown right here in Maui. And if you don't have potatoes, use some kalo, use some ulu, you can use sweet potato, you can use any type of starch to put in here, or you don't have to use starch at all. That's the beauty of this recipe. Okay, so I've got my potatoes. All right, and I'm gonna slice up my onion. All right, I'm gonna go with the grain here. All right. I think I'm probably gonna go with, let's see. Well, let's do a full onion. I love onions. And these are beautiful and sweet, and they're fresh. You know, one of the things that we've been experiencing with COVID is just understanding that we are in a very special place. And what happens if the boats and planes stop coming tomorrow? I mean, if we think about the toilet paper shortage, right? We have to think about food, and I think it's so important that we're growing our own, we're cooking our own, and supporting local farmers, supporting sustainability, supporting our infrastructure, because as we know, we have to figure out how to become self-sustainable. All right, so let's start. I've got a little bit. I'm going to add my potatoes and my onions first to a hot wok. All right. Got a little bit of fat in here already. So I've got my wok nice and hot. And I'm just gonna start by adding the potatoes and the onions just to break them down a little bit. Now, one of the most important things when you're cooking is to preheat your pan, okay? So something like a wok, and this is a steel wok, you want to make sure that it gets nice and hot, that's got a light smoke to it, because when you add all those ingredients to your pan, what happens is automatically brings the temperature down in your pan. So you want to get that pan nice and hot. All right. Now the next thing I want to do is add my aromatics. Again, I have garlic, ginger, Szechuan peppercorn, serrano pepper, and Thai chili. So there is a little bit of kick to this, right? All right. Okay. Oh, I can smell everything cooking already. It smells awesome. All right, let's take our tomatoes. Okay. And I'm just gonna go ahead and cut these tomatoes into small chunks. What I like about adding tomatoes to a soup like this is that it adds a little bit of umami, a little bit of richness and freshness. So we're gonna add these towards the end. Just gonna go ahead and cut up my camuela tomatoes now. Okay. And what's also lovely about this recipe is that it feeds a lot of people. Everything in Hawaii is all about ohana lifestyle, family. I was very fortunate to be able to spend a lot of time with my family while the restaurant was temporarily closed. And now I'm back to work every day, and we're in this new reality. So it's just here at the Pioneer Inn. Lahaina's pretty empty right now, but we are open for business, and it's just me and my chef de cuisine and my assistant manager, and we're just making it happen every day. So we can't wait for you guys to come join us down here. We are open for brunch every day from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we're doing events on the weekends, and we have dinners every Friday evening. So come on down and join us. All right, so that's stir frying. I am gonna add my tomatoes. I'm gonna go ahead and deglaze with my Samuelsson. I'm gonna add a little bit of shoyu, maybe like a 1/4 cup of shoyu. We'll add a little bit of sugar for balance. I'm gonna add some green onions to add flavor now. These are chopped green onions to add flavor now. Okay, and then I also have some chicken stock here. So I have some homemade chicken stock. You can use chicken broth, you can fish broth, beef broth, vegetable broth, whatever you are comfortable with. I'm just gonna add that to my pot. And then that is turned all the way up. We're gonna bring that up to a simmer and we're gonna let that boil a little bit, okay? In the meantime, let me get all these ingredients out of the way. We're gonna work on our fish. Okay, as I said, you can use frozen fish for this. I love this soup because it's hearty, it's healthy, and it's really satisfying. So I have the mahi fillet, and what I've done is, let me see, I hope you can see this here. So I have the fillet, and I'm cutting it in half, and I want to cut it into small, thin pieces. So I'm kind of slicing it on the bias into thin pieces like this, okay? So they're about 1/4 inch thick, kind of on the bias, and what will happen is this will allow the fish to cook quickly in the soup. So really, I'm gonna add this fish right at the end, right before we serve it and go to the table, okay? Also, by cutting it thin, I'm gonna coat it in a little egg white and cornstarch. By cutting it thin, it not only cooks quickly, but the texture is super nice. So you're not biting into a large chunk of overcooked fish. All right, so I've got my mahi right here. All right, I put it into my mixing bowl. I'm gonna add some egg whites here. I've got maybe 2 pounds of fish and maybe 4 egg whites. Okay, so I beat them just to break them, okay? And then I have some cornstarch. I got about 1/4 cup of cornstarch here. Okay, and I'm gonna add a little bit of the shoyu to this, okay? And we're just gonna go ahead and coat everything together. And what's gonna happen is the egg white and the cornstarch, once they hit that soup, they're gonna cook, and that cornstarch and that egg white is gonna form a really almost like silky coating on the fish. So the texture of it when you eat it is just really, really awesome. So as you can see, the fish is coated in the starch and the shoyu and the egg white, okay? And I've got my fishes. The broth is coming up here. I need it to simmer. This smells awesome already. Okay, so I can smell, I'm looking at this, I smell ginger, I smell garlic, I smell those chilies, got the onions going. All right, let's get this out of the way. Okay. All right, so I'm waiting for my soup to start simmering. In the meantime, let's go ahead and cut up this bok choy. You could leave the leaves whole, or you can cut them into I like to just take my knife like this and just go 1, 2, because you just want them in nice bite-sized pieces, right? Okay. Whew, waiting for this wok to heat up. All right, so I'm looking at all my veggies, and you want to simmer this soup for probably anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes. Enough so that the potatoes cook, the onions are cooked, and the cabbage breaks and starts to release its water. As I look at it, and you can tell right now that the soup is not simmering yet, the cabbage is still a little bit raw, so we're just gonna bring this up to a boil. And as they say in Maui, watch pot never boils, right? So come back over here. Okay, in the meantime, let me get my garnish ready. I've got some green onions. One of the things that we did when we were shut down, I was actually furloughed off of work for a month, is that we built a garden at home. So we had, just took some lumber and, some dirt. We had some friends give us some seeds, and we planted a garden in March. And now we have a garden that is so overabundant. I don't have to go buy herbs anymore at the market. I don't have to go buy, we're growing tomatoes, we have fennel, we have peppers, we have zucchini and squash, I have elderberries, I have a big avocado tree, but it's really amazing for the first time in my life, because I born and raised in New York, lived in New York City for 20 years, to finally have a garden of my own that I can literally, I come home every day from work, I spend an hour watering my garden, I like harvest what's ready for the day, and that usually gives me inspiration for dinner. So, all right, so this is coming to a simmer. So growing a garden is fun. If you have kids, it's also very educational for your kids. I've got these green onions, and I'm just gonna slice these on the long bias. I just wanna do these nice sort of like diamond shape green onions, okay? If I got a little sweat on my upper lip, it's because it's very hot here in Lahaina. All right, perfect. And one more. Here we go. All right. So these beautiful green onions. Okay. All right, our soup is starting to come up to a simmer. I see it, it's getting ready to boil. At which point we're gonna boil it for maybe, again, we're gonna simmer it for about 5-10 minutes, and then we're gonna add in our bok choy and our fish, and we'll finish with this. So I'll be back in a minute. All right, so my stew is bubbling. I can see it, the cabbage is tenderized and wilting. The tomatoes are starting to break down. So I'm gonna add my bok choy leaves. These are gonna add a nice pop of color and texture, and the bok choy doesn't need to cook very long. And then we're gonna go ahead and add our fish. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my fish to here. Okay. Just gonna go ahead and it shouldn't be like soupy. It's, you know, it's definitely a stew. So you want to just let it like poach in the liquid. And what's gonna happen is those egg whites are gonna start to cook. So it almost looks like egg drop soup a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead, simmer that, bring it back up. Now again, because the bok choy is cut small, the fish is cut into thin pieces, it's gonna take about another minute to cook, really. So really, really fast. Okay. All right. Beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little pepper to it. You always just check the seasoning. I tasted it a little earlier, so I just know it needs just a little bit of salt. Oh wow, this looks awesome. And I can see right away my fish is cooked. My greens are tender. Oh, this looks great. And my stew is ready to go. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna scoop some of this into my bowl. Just wanna make sure I get some of those beautiful vegetables in there. Okay. Yum. Smells incredible. And that's pretty much it. This is about as simple of a dinner as you can get. I've got some fresh green onions to go on top. Yeah, hearty, healthy, spicy, full of flavor, 100% local, all delicious. So next time you guys want to make dinner, think Pono, think made in Hawaii, source all your ingredients locally, and make something healthy and delicious for your ohana. Thank you for joining me today. My name's Lee Anne Wong. We'll see you on Hawaiian Airlines the next time you're flying to the islands and you want to come check out Pioneer Inn. Aloha.
You see, I told you it was going to be an exciting demonstration. Thanks again for tuning in to this segment of the 2020 Made in Hawaii virtual cooking demonstration. You can find a downloadable booklet of the 6 chefs by logging on to madeinhawaiifestival.com. Try it, and you'll like it. On behalf of the Hawaii Food Industry Association and the Made in Hawaii Festival, we say mahalo again to the presenting sponsors, Central Pacific Bank Foundation and Mai Pono, and to our other sponsors and partners, including Buy Local It Matters, Hawaiian Airlines, Hawaiian Airline Cargo, Innovative Hawaii, and Ulupono Initiative, promoting local agriculture and local products for local communities. With that, I say, support local, buy local, it matters. Aloha.